गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 राम राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। So we have been doing the importance of the morning program, and last time we devoted a lot of time for the hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the hearer's qualification, speaker's qualification, many things we discussed. Now here is the topic for today, rendering devotional service. This one of you can read it, please. Mike? I don't know. I can take.
After participating in the full morning program and after honoring breakfast prasadam, a devotee should be ready to perform a full day's work at his devotional occupation. Devotional service is meant to totally engage a person, body, mind, and speech in the service of the Lord. The Bhagavatam declares that devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Bhagavatam verse 1.22.6. A Vaishnava is not a lazy fellow or a part time religionist because he has at least a partial understanding that Lord Krishna is the all attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead and that the only goal of life is to satisfy Him. A Vaishnava cannot turn away from Krishna after a show of morning worship and go to something else.
Hare Krishna. So here it is said that devotion services, people generally think in India, bhakti means some kind of bhava. You should have some feeling. I went to temple, I looked at the deities and I felt very nice. When the kirtan was sung, I was getting tears in my eyes. My heart stood on, and people say, no, isn't it? And other people think temple means you just go do pradakshina, chant some mantras, take some chakra pongal, vend pongal, some prasad, isn't it? And you bow down to Lord, I have done my duty now. I have given my attendance to the Lord. Hajar. Now I have done that. Today is my worship of the Lord is over now. And they go back. And they feel themselves very nice. I remember in Jayadevpur Satyat Mataji's house program, one elderly couple started coming. They were Tamil people. Uh, They were like, the husband was like 75, 78 or so, close to 77, 78, and wife was like 72, 73. We were very happy, very intelligent people, highly educated people, you know. So we thought that once they take to Krishna consciousness seriously, then they can also preach and do so many good things they can do. But then after 2 to 3 months, they stopped coming. Huh? They didn't regularly come. And then I called up to find out what happened, why you're not coming nowadays. So he said, Swamiji, your program happens on Tuesday evening. And that's the same evening, you know, I have another place where I have to go to feed the birds, you know. They have some like this grains in one particular park or somewhere he goes to feed the birds. And also, and then Thursday, I have to go to that particular temple. And Saturday, we go to the Shani's temple. Or, different days they have different temples to go. So these 3 months, I was missing that opportunity to do that. So now we have decided that we'll skip your program. Then we'll go for this. And then he was telling, last 30 years, we have never missed even once going to this Devi temple, that Shiva temple, and different temples. 3 days a week or 4 days a week at exactly the same time. They have been going for attending the arati and bowing down. They're pious people, certainly, and also oriented towards some social service. One was that birds giving this thing to the birds, and another one was going to an orphanage. They were going another day. It's like one day something pious, go to temple, another day go to orphanage or do these things, and they are not able to understand the need and the importance of cultivating knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. In Gita, Lord Krishna says in 13th chapter 8th verse, Dhanma Martu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. One should, Anu means in parampara. In parampara, one should see darshanam. As taught in the Guru Parampara, one should be able to see that with the rising and setting of the sun, our bodies are dwindling. And, and eventually the age is age is increasing, and the body will run out of fuel, just like a car where you put some petrol, it runs out of fuel. Similarly, body also runs out of the fuel, and one day the body will come to a halt, which is called death. Uh, and before the body gets very old, before the body perishes, Turnam yateta nayateta anumrittu yavan. He says that before the body drops to ground dead, we should have awakened our devotion service in our heart, awakened our love for God, or serious practice of devotion service. So if we don't do that, then we need one more material body to fulfill more material desires. So they were not able to comprehend this. They were just completely complacent and satisfied in their own material piety. So these are various problems. Some people are stuck in material piety. Some people are experiencing bhakti abhas, we call it. Bhakti abhas means that which externally looks like bhakti, but it is not bhakti. Like Sahajayism is bhakti abhas. Yeah. Similarly, wearing chandan, kumkum, going to temples, circumambulating, and we recited the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, or 9th chapter of the Gita. They go to the temple and sit and recite the whole thing and come, which is also good. Some temples, they even have Vishnu Sahasranam recitation. Every evening they have some temples. Two groups of people sit in one line, they recite. You have seen that? Yeah, which is very nice. But then after the recitation is over, they go back to house and read the newspaper, watch TV, and they get into their smartphone. And it's like an elephant which is taking a bath in a river and then going and rolling on the mud later on. So even the so-called pious people who may do these things, that's what he's saying. It's not that you know a Vaishnava is not a lazy fellow or a part-time religionist. He's using the word part-time religionist. Part-time religionist means you did your rituals, but after that you are again indulging in nonsense or materialistic sense gratification. Because he has at least a partial understanding that Lord Krishna is the all-attractive Supreme Lord, that the only goal of life is to satisfy Krishna. A Vaishnava cannot turn away from Krishna after showing after a show off of morning worship to go to do something else. That something else is sense gratification. So one cannot go for doing sense gratification. Therefore, the Bhagavata Dharma is different Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha is different. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, the four Purusharthas. That is a gradual process which may take hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. Like, for example, you do Dharma and then you earn Artha and then you enjoy Kama, pleasures of the world. Then you get frustrated, then you aspire for Moksha. And while aspiring for moksha, you are aspiring for liberation, then gradually you may come to bhakti. It may take 100, 200, 300, 500 lifetimes. But in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada says our body, the Kali Yuga situation is not very favorable or anukul for religious life, pious life. In one lifetime, finish off and go back to Godhead, Prabhupada says. So don't think you can gradually progress because the ambience, the atmosphere, the ethos is not conducive for advancing. It's a big struggle, and it is going to be more struggle in future. It's not going to be, easier. So therefore, Prabhupada taught us to take the Bhagavata Dharma directly, which is like getting into a lift. You don't have to climb up 100-story building with a staircase. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then you come to the Bhakti Yoga finally. There is a lift we can take, which is Bhagavata Dharma. It's called as one stroke process. One stroke process means, like there is a saying in Hindi, Sau sonar ki ek lohar ki. They say, no? Ek lohar means one hit with a big sledgehammer. The job is done. And not that several times we have to keep hitting little. So don't take many lifetimes. In one lifetime, you finish. Of course, in one lifetime, if you want to go back to Godhead, then our current life's sole purpose should be Krishna. Other things should be worked out around Krishna. Attaining Krishna is my main goal. Yes, I need to do something to earn my livelihood also. There is one Gauranga Gurukul, in Delhi, run by one very wonderful devotee called Rukmini Jivan Prabhu. So I was there last week. So they have like 80 children they have there. And all the boys having shika, clean shaved. And they have this maroon color kurta and white color dhoti. And everybody looks like a Gurukul children. And the girls have different uniform they have. So 80 of them, small and big, they were doing roaring kirtan they were doing. So I reached there. So they told me to give a class, I gave. And I was surprised, even Mataji's, Prabhuji's, even they had a uniform also. Of course, Mataji, they have kept two uniforms. I think green and yellow one combination and similar another combination, little more brighter combination. Of course, Prabhuji's, they wear dhoti kurta, they wear. So they also have some uniform. Like children may wonder, we have uniform, parents have no uniform. So in their community, they have like 250 people or so, 250, 300 people. They have uniform also. 2, 3 colors they have chosen. And how are they surviving? They have come up with many small businesses. Like for example, making kesari. The kesari is very costly item. It has to be made in first you have to germinate it in a cold freezer. So they have cold freezer arrangement. But once you are able to do that and then cultivate in the garden, you can make a big profit in a very short time. So somebody has that type of business. There is another devotee who is making some home medicinal powders based on Charak Samhita. And they say that you can keep minimal profit from the devotees and you can earn your livelihood. Like you make the medicine in 80 rupees and you sell it at 150. But outside the medicine is 500. So that way they are benefiting devotees also. At the same time, devotees can save money also. They have come up with it. One devotee is doing that, one devotee is doing this. Another devotee is running a Govindas. This Govindas is a unique Govindas. Everything is natural. And the kind of, you have to go and see to understand how there is zero artificial items there. All pure items, which are very healthy items in the Govindas for all devotees. There is not a one pinch of maida there. No maida at all. But the items, even they also give pasta, but the pasta is not a wheat only. Yeah. Anything they give, everything, it looks like junk food type of item, but very healthy. Very amazing idea, no? Isn't it? Make a samosa with, wheat in such a manner that children will be thinking, oh, we are eating samosa. Yes, you eat healthy samosa now. They made like that. So that is one person is running this, one person running this, one person running. There's another devotee who is cultivating. They have taken a 5 acre on rent. huh? And they have arranged some devotees to uh, uh, what do you call it? The farm is also on rent, and they have also engaged some people with salaried farmers, huh? And who are supervised by the devotees. And then they cultivate fruits, vegetables, cereals, spices. Everything comes from the farm, and these 300 people eat only that. And they sell also, huh, from that. In 5 acres, he says, you can do so much, he says. Huh? They are doing that also. So that is one devotee is doing that. So what he has done is, he has arranged for multiple small different types of businesses which can give you enough money to earn your livelihood wholly without having to slog hard in going to company and things like that. And most of the people are, and there are many Matajis who are teaching also. For the children they are teaching. They're giving them the salary of 3,000 rupees. Huh? You may wonder 3,000, how can somebody survive in city? Because they have other businesses they have like that. 3,000, 4,000, a small amount, something like a token amount they have, but they are very good people. The leader is Rukmini Jivan Prabhu and his good wife and son, and his son is the Mridanga teacher there. He teaches Mridangam to many children. It's like a very beautiful closed community, internet community, and they're connected to ISKCON Ghaziabad, Rajgur, I think Rajnagar, I think Adhikata Prabhu and Sundar Gopal Prabhu are there. So they are also, now what are they doing for the temple, you may ask? Every week, Saturday, they go for a 3 hour Harinaman book distribution. Even children are going. Children, boys, girls, community, whole community goes every Saturday evening. And they distribute books, they distribute prasad, and they also have pamphlets of the temple. Because they're building a new temple. They raise funds also. Several lakhs of rupees they have collected and given, 50 lakhs. 1 CR like that, already given. They are also collecting and giving. So that is their contribution to the temple also. They are doing. Every morning they have half an hour some Bhagavatam class, and evening they have half an hour CC class they have. Evening. And this is going on last 8 years, 10 years or so like this classes. So Prabhuji says half an hour. And they have a Japa app also they have. App for Japa. Mhm. So even reading also, as soon as you open that app, you start reading, that counts it. And after you finish, you just press it takes the reading and puts it. They made app also. I am planning to invite him here once. Sometimes he can share. Or we can go there also. If going there would be more enjoyable than only calling that one leader here. Hmm? You go and see. Very strict sadhana they have. I was asking Prabhu how you can be so strict with even Grihastha sadhana and children's sadhana and then still keep them happy. So he said, we give them a lot of Krishna consciousness gratification. He said, what is it? Huh? He said, we take them to many holy places, Ganga Bath, many places. They make a human chain. Elders make a human chain. Within that, they allow the children to play in the water. Uh, so like that, they have many activities. And children also perform dramas, very well prepared dramas, and in the presence of very big audience in Delhi. They go and perform. They very quality things. So I showed him this dance of Krishna dancing on Kalia, which I showed here once. Immediately he went and trained them and they performed it in Delhi. It was most appreciated, they were saying. So why I'm saying this, here is an example of a person, he's a CA. He's about 40 years or something like that. So he says that you're a chartered accountant, I can be connecting with many companies, which can give him lakhs and crores of rupees. He can make a lot of money and just sit at home. Me and my wife and son, our life is going on. But he has become like a missionary and, you know, taking, I'll just show you. This is the one I'll show you, the community I'll show you. This is the community, this one. You're able to see? This is Nitya Krishna Prabhu here. This is a community, a very, very beautiful community in Ghaziabad. Wonderful devotee. So sometime in future we will. Any of you going to Delhi, Ghaziabad, you can take reference from me and you can go also if you want to contact, you can take. Beautiful community. So in this way they are. So why am I quoting this example here? He is not a part-time religionist, huh? Or he is not a lazy fellow or a part-time religionist, as he says here. Constantly meditating on how to simplify the material life of the community members, and how to keep the children protected uh, in their Krishna consciousness, and not get diverted by Maya, and how to keep strict discipline in the morning program and reading, hearing, japa, doing japa with quality, everything. So he is like meticulously paying attention to each of these things. It's not like a casual community where you just give a lecture and go, and then people are on their own, right? No? So it's very, and in this way, both, that's why he's saying here, body, mind, speech, kaya, vacha, manasa, pravritti. Kaya, vacha, manasa, nivritti. Pravritti means, for example, body, mind, words can be engaged in varieties of services for the Lord. That's called devotional service. It's not just devotion. Therefore, Prabhupada translated the word bhakti as devotional service. We have to render some service, because without service, if one is just thinking that I'll be a devotee, you will see that Prabhupada says you can't say, oh my dear wife, I love you very much. Only I cannot get you a sari, I can't get you ornaments, I can't give you a house, I can't provide you facilities, but I love you. If somebody says, Prabhupada said, what kind of love is that? So if you say you love someone, you also have to render some service to them. Like a mother loves a child, but how much she, sacrifices herself for the raising of the child, correct, no? Even in the midnight, she is ready to get up. She has to change the diaper. She has to clean the stool and urine. Uh, she has to tend to the needs of the child along with many other responsibilities. Similarly, the devotion service, devotee never considers it as burdensome. The devotee is ready to engage the body, mind, and speech. So, mm, I read further.
There is nothing else but Krishna. Or rather, there is Krishna and his illusory energy Maya. A devotee avoids the clutches of Maya and the resultant sufferings of material life by fully absorbing himself in some form of authorized devotional service.
Yeah. So, what is the best way to avoid the sufferings arising from material life? One should absorb in some kind of devotional service. It's a authorized devotional service. See, there are husband, wife who don't have children. Sometimes when the husband comes home, the wife says, yesterday you said this, and he says, I didn't say that, and they get into a quarrel, and he is sitting facing north and she is facing south, in the same house. There's no one else, a big house. And then they become very moody, and they're thinking, how can we survive like this whole life? And they go to counselor and say we want to divorce, and counselor spends 40 hours, 60 hours sometimes to keep them together somehow or other, involving. And your mother said this, your father said that, and he did this, and so many things like that. So now, when you're sitting within closed doors and trying to sort out problem in an empty house with no activity, see, in those days, what happened? Prabhupada says the Andarwadi was having only women, and the Baharwadi was having only men. And the men would be together, 5, 6 brothers staying in the Baharwadi. One of them may be super smart in business, another one may not be so much. But the not so smart brothers are engaged by the smart brothers in business. They take them to the shop, take them to the field, engage them in some service. So for the younger one, just follow the elder brother is very easy. They do that. And wives also, they may want to talk. Women want to talk, and somebody else may hear them. And they like to talk to somebody, and after talking, the other one talks, they like to hear also. So women are combing their hair and knitting their hair. And they have time. The daytime they may talk to each other. And amongst them, they talk and they are satisfied in each other's company. And the man doesn't get easy access to the woman, because men are not supposed to go to women in the day. In the evening time or the night when they are about to, then there is a private time with the family. where you can be with your wife and child after 6:30, 7 o'clock when it gets dark. Then one is with one's own group, one's own family. Otherwise, in the daytime, women do women's things and man do men's things like that. And because that separation was there, because of that, the affection and respect, mutual respect was also there. Hmm. But later on, as the civilization changed, the joint families became dismantled. Nuclear families came about. Now, in many other houses you go nowadays, you find they have 2 BHK, 3 BHK flat. Only husband, wife are living. Their parents are in the hometown. They are not there. Or husband, wife leave India and go abroad also. You are living as a nuclear family. Then the access to husband, wife has become increased. Then you see easily each other. And then we have too much expectations from one another. I think you should be like this, you should not be like that, and I'd say you should be like that. And those expectations gradually hardens their heart because the expectations are blurted out by speeches, and the speeches distances their affection, distance them from being affectionate, and that causes hard-heartedness. And you love everybody in the world except your own partner. It happens like that. And then you reveal your mind to so many other people other than your one's own partner. It happens like that. That's because of Ati Parichayat Avagya. So, what is the solution to such material phenomenon? The solution is husband and wife come together and do some transcendental devotional service. Uh, like in Pune, we have one family, Bhavatarani Mataji and Venudari Krishna Prabhu. They are disciples of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So I have seen them several times, husband carrying the bag of books and the table. Table is a foldable table. They have a plastic table. And, Mataji also getting other things and cloth and everything. And then they put a table. Both husband and wife are sitting there. And the temple, NVCC, several hours. They have been having this table for years together. Every morning you will hear their score announced in front of the deities. 100 books, 120 books, 150, 200, like that. Very good score they get. So they don't have to move much, just sit in a big table with a lot of books. They have a fixed timing of the day. They cover it with a cloth and go, and then they later on open it. So, and very amazing that they don't get tired. There is one another Venkat Buddhiraj Prabhu, another devotee also, puts a table like that. So these people have found out a clue in their life how to keep themselves spiritually absorbed through devotional service. So once you do that type of service, then mind is diverted from looking at one another and throwing expectations on one another. Right now, say wife goes to cook Rajabhog or making garland, husband is doing book distribution, or they both can do together also some service. This is the greatness of Prabhupada. I will show you one point here. Just a minute. Here, Srila Prabhupada was, read that? The mic here.
Srila Srila Prabhupada was a master at and indeed the whole world in fixing the mind on Krishna. And he did so in a way that simultaneously fulfilled Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission.
Yeah, Prabhupada can engage his disciples and even the whole world. Prabhupada was very observant. One example I'll tell you. One program, when it was in a big hall, and Prabhupada, when he entered the hall, there was nobody practically except one person sitting. And Prabhupada went straight into the hall through the aisles. And then he sat in this side of the sofa. I mean, the long chairs sat. And that one man was sitting in the corner. He was the only one there. And Prabhupada sat here. And then he looked at him and asked, no, are you a Hindu? He asked him. And that man said, no, I'm a Muslim, he said. Because he was not looking like a Muslim with topi and all. Prabhupada then called him near him and said, then Prabhupada said, when I was a small boy, we used to hear in India, Allah's name they would sing in the mosques. I would ask my mother, what are they singing? My mother would say, they're calling on God. So just as you call on God, we also call on God with Hare Krishna. He was telling the devotee, that man, that young boy. And then he was just making him feel light, talking to him for a few minutes. And then Prabhupada said that I have a small request for you. You see this trunk, which has many books. I just kept it down. can you take care of this? He said. And then he asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, but where are you going? He said, Prabhupada said, now I have to go to give lecture now. He said, oh, you are the speaker of the day. Huh? He was not aware, the boy. And then Prabhupada looked behind, the whole hall became filled with people, lot of people, big crowd eventually. And Prabhupada went to the stage. And at the end of the lecture, Prabhupada said, so if you all found my talk interesting, you want to learn more, here is that boy, he told his name, he will give you the books. You can take the books. And he told the boy, whatever books they ask, you give the books and you put the money in this one box. Whatever money they give, you put it in the box. Donation they give. And the boy was giving out, all the books got over. Huh? The whole trunk got over, gave the books. And later on, this boy says that, see, I didn't know Swamiji who he was, and Swamiji didn't know who I am. Still, Swamiji could engage me in devotional service. Isn't it? He sold book distribution. Huh? In the very first meeting, he engaged him in book distribution, collecting donation. Yeah. So that's why Prabhupada engaged the whole world. Huh? It is said. So you will see, like Prabhupada found Jadurani Mataji is an artist. So he told her, you can do paintings for Krishna. Huh? Somebody like Jayananda Prabhupada engaged him in cart building, Rath cart building, isn't it? Tamaksha Maharaj was a very powerful, intelligent organizer, manager, and convincing presenter. So Prabhupada made him go out and preaching all across America through the Greyhound buses and taking the books. And he was distributing in lakhs of books distribution along with Vishnujana Swami. They both were a good team. Sometimes Prabhupada would team up and send them. Just like in London, he sent 3 families. He made a team of 3 families and sent them so that they can relish each other's association also together. Like Vishnu Swami and Ramakshana is a wonderful combination. He made them a team like that. Or he took Hayagreva Prabhu and engaged him in editing Prabhupada's books. He made Ram. Recently we saw in Vrindavan Rai Ram Prabhu. Correct, no? We saw him, he had come. So he even now, even in old age, how he speaks. You saw that? With so much vigor. You can imagine when he was a young boy, and Prabhupada got all Chaitanya Charitamrita printed in 2 months through him. So he identified some spark in them and he fanned the spark by engaging them. Many of us will have one difficulty. We can prepare lecture, prepare PPTs like I'm preparing, and we can deliver lectures. But after that, we again become preoccupied in studying, preparing, doing, taking care of our own chores. And people under us, oftentimes we fail to see what they are doing. Whether are they sufficiently engaged. We may think that people under me will find out their own engagements because ISKCON has so many engagements. If they want, they can distribute books. If they want to do Seva and temple, they can go to the Vindadevi Information Center and do service. Like that, we assume like that many times. But do you think people take service on their own? They don't. They will not just do anything. And they will, on the contrary, hurt them with sense gratification. Opening the smartphone and watching unwanted things, or lazily. There are 2 bad habits of conditioned souls: being lazy and unrestricted action. Being lazy is tamaguna. Unrestricted action is rajaguna. These 2 are the famous pastimes of conditioned souls. Yeah, that's what they will do. If you don't engage them, they will engage themselves in these 2 activities. You will see that. And we wonder why this devotee is not growing at all. I have given, like one devotee said, Prabhuji, 3 years I am giving lecture, this fellow is not growing at all. Because the lectures alone cannot grow the people. They need a practical devotion service. Prabhupada gave more practical devotion service than too many lectures. Anybody can say how long lectures Prabhupada gave generally? Short, yeah. Somebody will wonder how you finished off in 30 minutes. Many times we wonder, if you give such a short lecture, how will people understand deep concepts? But many concepts he gave in books. Prabhupada knew that after that short lecture, people are really keen, they will go and read the books. And also he insisted on reading and distributing the books. So Prabhupada didn't give very long lectures, but he actually engaged them very powerfully. Many people. You name a person, he gave engagement. Shamsundar Prabhu was a carpenter. So Prabhupada had told him to make the London altar. He made, and he put very costly wood. So later on, Prabhupada was a little upset that why he spent so much money in that. But he didn't tell him. He thought anyway, ultimately it's for the Lord only he did. They committed mistakes sometimes, some of his disciples. Prabhupada Prabhupada had the art of getting the service done, and he overlooked small mistakes, and he appreciated them. You would always see from that point of view, how can this jiva be engaged in Krishna service? We have to cultivate that type of eyesight also. Okay, this new jiva is coming into my fold, into my circle. How this jiva can be engaged in Lord's service? So that the jiva becomes blissful and purified, not only by chanting and reading, but also by engaging in seva also. Read it.
Two examples of Srila
No,
Prabhupada.
yeah, now we can read. He can read.
Two examples of Srila Prabhupada's genius at engaging others are book distribution and the enrollment of life members.
Prabhupada wanted books to be translated into many languages. As well as Gopakshana Maharaj translated in 80 languages. 80 plus languages got it done, printed, published. You might have seen some of the videos, huge trucks carrying Prabhupada books. And then BPT go down having lakhs of books. And then printed, published, stocked and distributed. So it's like a big enterprise. So Prabhupada made spirituality so practical and so much possibility for expansion. Otherwise, many times, many of the Indian learned religionists, they would be just sitting in a temple, at the counter with one desk or something like that, the receipt book. Whoever is coming to the temple, take darshan and come. Some people push you also to give a donation. How can you come to temple and how can you not pay a donation and force people? See, these are small time fellows. They collect some, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, and Prabhupada is doing business, and you can see what kind of, lakhs of books are going out and crores of rupees are coming into bank and going out. So one interview I heard Prabhupada saying that monthly, all over the world at that time, Prabhupada said, we have 5,000 men and women right now, all over the world in all our centers. And we are arranging for the boarding, lodging, accommodation, prasad for all these people and clothes, everything. And so much money is coming in and so much money is going out. You can see, Prabhupada says. And Krishna is arranging all these things. So Prabhupada was a very smart strategist, we can say. He was not just a preacher who just gave lectures and went back. He was very, very smart in planning, and he knew that conditioned souls have a lot of money, but they're misusing that money. And we should divert that misuse of money to the direction of engaging them in Krishna service. So make them life members, give them books. Like this, our Brahmananda Prabhu, when he purchased some books, from Prabhupada, Prabhupada took charges from him in the very early days. Somebody may say, yes, already, he's planning to consider joining or whatever. Prabhupada said, whatever it is, if they pay money for the books, then they'll take it seriously. People, Prabhupada says, they will say, let me see what this fool has written. At least I have paid some money. Let me find out. Otherwise, if you give a book free, it goes straight into the cupboard and they may not read it. So, yeah, they may not, because they have not paid for it. So they will not take it very seriously. Like, for example, say I give you a book and tell you, Prabhuji, you can read this book and give me back in a month. Then you will have to read. Now we gift you a book. What you will do? Cupboard. It just remains the cupboard. You will see that. Therefore, sometimes when people give me a book, I tell them, please tell me when I should give it back. Then there's possibility of reading, correct? So, or when you purchase it, we will value it. Are you there?
Srila Prabhupada writes, when one goes with a Sankirtan party or to sell books, he naturally thinks that he is going to sell Krishna's books. In this way, he is remembering Krishna.
This is how we remember. Prabhupada has told me to distribute. These are books about Krishna, or these are teachings of Krishna. When one thinks like that, then one remembers Krishna like that.
Srila Prabhupada does not restrict his concept of remembering Krishna to meditating only on Krishna's form or pastimes.
That's the point. It's not that you are looking at the deity or hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Remembering Krishna also includes serving Krishna, working for Krishna. Krishna talks about that also, isn't it? Working for Krishna versus working for Maya. Huh? So if somebody cannot work for Krishna full time all day long, then one may also here comes the point now. If you see karma yoga, jnana yoga, if you see like that, I will show you another. Just a minute. See, we cannot force someone to give up his conditioned nature and material desires. Sadrisham cheshyate swasyaha. Prakriti jnanavanapi. Prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Uh, Everyone follows the nature they have acquired from the three modes. They act according to their own nature. So what can repression accomplish? Krishna is saying, nigraha kim karishyati. So this is very nicely explained by the acharyas. You can see Baladev Devotion is saying, even punishment cannot help. Even a jnanavan acts according to his evil nature, he says. That means how many of you have experienced that we know something is wrong, still we go. Like laziness is wrong, we know. Still we tend to become lazy, correct? No? What then to speak of the person who does not even know about the punishments? All the bhutani, all the living entities, yanti, they follow their sinful vasanas, prakritim. Prakritim yanti bhutani. That means all the living entities follow their sinful vasanas. They gravitate in that direction because of many, many millions of lifetimes of accruing these vasanas. So, accumulating. Even though those desires they are the desires the cause of destruction of the very goals they pursue. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, isn't it? Gayatri says. This is the power of the impressions, past impressions. So Vishnu Chakravarti says, Nishkama Karma Yoga can purify impure hearted people, and Jnana Yoga can enlighten the pure hearted. No? But neither can purify the extremely impure tendencies. Nigraha kim karishyati. That's why he says that. See, the goal of Nishkama Karma Yoga is to purify the impurities in our heart and bring us to the point of jnana, where we know that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. And the goal of jnana is to become enlightened about your na shochati na kankshati. Come to the stage where the purer you become, jnana yoga can enlighten the pure hearted. So if you already become purified through Nishkama Karma Yoga, then you become more enlightened about aham brahmasmi. And I am not the body. Very clearly you see, and then you start making an effort to remain in that consciousness forever. Even after coming to that jnana stage also, he says, nigraha kim karishyati, because there is one word called vipaschit in Bhagavad Gita. Yatatohyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasvam manah. That verse says that even a vipaschit is jnani actually. Even a jnani person can again fall back to the old vasanas again. So in this way, Nishkama Karma Yogi jnani, they are trying to purify and get enlightened, but even they can fall prey. That's a tendency of the old vasanas. The old vasanas actually, which reside in the mind, they push the senses to act with anger, lust and greed. Like that. So then he says, a person devoid of association of saintly persons, even if he has knowledge of scripture, what can punishment accomplish? He's asking. Here is the point. Here Chakravarti Thakur, what is he saying? Somebody may ask, okay, if these vasanas are so deadly, they cannot be removed even by a jnani, then what's the solution? Is there a solution or no solution? Solution, he says, is association with a saintly person. So what does a saintly person do? A saintly person gifts the conditioned soul with the holy name and association of the Supreme Lord and devotional service. So when you chant the holy name, the mind is cleansed, the impure vasanas are cleansed. And also when he connects the jiva to the Supreme Lord, the jiva feels ecstasy by being put in touch with Krishna. Because anyone who touches Krishna becomes blissful. So feeling that higher taste, param drishtva nivartate. Then one is able to conquer the lower taste. And to make the jiva continuously feel the higher taste, what should be done? Like here the higher taste. Now my mind is hovering on the lower taste now. So your Sangha of a sadhu puts me in touch with Krishna. I feel blissful for some time, but again I come back to The thing. So that is where you need devotional service engagements. So we should go from one devotional service engagement, the second to the third, and without giving gap for any possibility of sense gratification. Huh? So then, but by such engagement, even at a lower stage, the jiva can feel bliss, even without having become fully purified also. Huh? Even in an impure stage, you can feel the bliss because devotion service gives bliss. And when a pure devotee meets out a way, creates those methods which thoroughly engage the living entity, and that's what Prabhupada did. 2 months he bring out the Chaitanya Charitamrita, correct? Is there room for any time for sense gratification? No. Huh? Devotees would be dropping to the bed in the night when they come back, and they didn't even know where am I sleeping. Huh? They would be fast asleep. There is no time for dreaming also. Huh? So, in this way, when we are continuously engaged in devotional service, the senses coming in contact with Rishikesh and Rishikesha, Sevanam, they get bliss. Plus, they are put in touch with the deities, deity worship, dressing the Lord, decorating the Lord, Navavidha Bhakti, and that also brings us in contact with the Lord. That also is very purifying. Huh? Yeah. This is Navavidha Bhakti, ninefold. So he is engaged in what limb of devotional service? What is engaged? Huh? This is Archanam. He is offering the flower to the Lord. And he is also surrendering to the Lord. Atmanivedana, surrendering fully to the Lord, isn't it? Yeah. See, Savanam. This is also one type of devotional service. Shushushosha Danasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatita Nishevanat. So, hearing from great souls is also one type of service. Huh? So it's Kirtanam, isn't it? But making whole world dance. So I got just one. I'll show you. I saw this one. See this. Puri. This is Puri Parikrama. Huh? 12,000 Vaishnavas from ISKCON. So you can see, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is causing overflooding, we say, na? Here the overflooding of love of God. So in this way, you can see Kirtanam. Huh? Kirtanam is also speaking the glories of the Lord, and also like Shukadeva Goswami speaking or singing. Huh? Smaranam, remembering. This is Prahlad. Huh? Remembering the pastimes of the Lord. He used to cry or sometimes he used to laugh, correct, no? So, this Pada Sevanam. Lakshmi massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. Archana. Vandana. Even old age Prabhupada showed example, offering obeisances. Dasyam is servitorship. Hanuman is the ideal example, isn't it? See, he considers himself servant of the Lord. Sakyam is Arjuna. And that is left side top is Krishna Sudama. Bali Maharaj, isn't it? Atmavena. So these are all different ways of serving the Lord. So in this way, this Navavidha Bhakti is very powerful, engaging. Now there are indoor services and there are outdoor services. So if you see the Shravanam, Kirtanam, all these different things, many of these are indoor. Like for example, sitting and hearing. Right now all of you are sitting and hearing and I am speaking. You are doing Shravanam, I am doing Kirtanam. And Smaranam also is a sort of meditation on the form, name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord, isn't it? And Archanam, that is also like Pancharatrika Vidhi, worshipping the Lord. That's an indoor type of service. And Vandanam is offering prayers, bowing down. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam. These are all, again, Dasyam, Sakyam is experienced in the Raga stage, but your external activities remain the same. For example, when you are worshipping the deity, you are feeling the rasa in relation to the Lord internally, that you are not exhibiting outside. Somebody is in Madhurya, somebody is in Vatsalya, somebody is in Dasya. One feels these emotions. So these are all more internal and indoor type of services. At the same time, there are also, like it is said, body, mind, words should be engaged in service. Engaging the body, for example, going out on book distribution. Go out on Harinam Sankirtan. Outdoor Harinam Sankirtan, I will show you what Prabhupada says about importance of that. You'll be amazed if you see that. Which one is that? For this, this one you are saying. Africa. It's Africa. So, see what Prabhupada is saying about this thing. Can you read that?
My dear Rai Rama, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated by May 14, 1969, and I have received a similar letter from Brahmananda. Also, that you are finding some difficulty in keeping pace regularly with the routine work. My advice to you under the circumstances is that at least for 1 hour you must all go to have Sankirtan outside on the streets or in the park. That is your life and soul. First business. The next business is completing the chanting of 16 rounds every day.
Let me first business what he says. 1 hour, he's saying 1 hour outdoor Harinam, and then you have to chant 16 rounds, he's saying. Yeah. And then he's saying your business is editing. If you find extra time, then other attend temple ceremonies, he's saying. You see? Otherwise, you can stop all these activities and read that. Otherwise,
is you can stop these activities, but outdoor kirtana, your editing work and chanting 6 rounds must be done. Outdoor kirtana must be done even at the cost of suspending all editorial work.
See? See? Actually, for Prabhupada, editorial work is very important. But outdoor kirtan is more important than doing just editorial work, he's saying. Go ahead.
That is your first and foremost business. Temple worship is not so important. If need be, the whole temple can be locked, but the outdoor kirtana cannot be stopped.
See? See, when you read Prabhupada's letters, things become very clear. What is the emphasis of our Acharya? This is called mood and mission of the Acharya, correct, no? Yeah. And then see this one. This is Columbus, Ohio, Prabhupada writing from My dear Krishna Das. What is saying? You read that? Here.
Please accept my blessings. I am very much encouraged to receive your letter of May 12, 1969, along with the German articles published in 2 different papers with pictures. It is very, very encouraging that you are holding kirtanas in public places and some way or other people are becoming interested. These outdoor kirtanas should be rigidly followed at least 1 hour daily. That will make our movement popular there. We have good experience here in every city, especially Los Angeles, New York, Boston, and here in Columbus. This is making our movement very popular more and more. So, in any circumstances, you all go together outdoors for Kirtana at least for 1 hour daily.
Second time, the same letter. This is one of the things with Prabhupada. Whenever you want to say something, two times he will say. Isn't it? So, like in Pune Camp Temple, we have a very good arrangement for Harinam Sankirtan daily. 7 to 7:30 we go. So we have a car on the top of which we put a big speaker. Very big. It's like 6 times the speaker on the top of the car is sitting. So, two, in rows of two, practically 20 devotees. Huh? So they dance very beautifully, these devotees. So we go, practically we cover the entire road up to the Pune station. We go inside Pune station. At least 1,000 people are watching. Huh? It's a daily thing. Huh? And we make a circle and we dance, and then we distribute prasad also along with that, with the cover in the hand. So it's very hygienic. And then we come back to Camp Temple. Sometimes we come back at 7:45 also. Sometimes it becomes close to 8. 1 hour also we go some other days. Some other days 45 minutes. So now many people wave whenever devotees are dancing. They wave the hand, they clap hands. Many of them going in the bike. So here also our Vishwagiri Prabhu in Hyderabad temple. He has been doing it as a single man, one-man show. Many years he has been doing it. Sincerely, daily going. Now he has a team of people who go. You stand outside and do kirtan. Correct. If you cannot go, you'll stand and do. See, letter to Hansadutta, no, from New Vrindavan Prabhupada is written. What he says? Read it.
Your unhappiness in the absence of sufficient engagement is a good sign. This is called abhatya
Abhyartha kalatva.
alayuttam. When a person is advanced in Krishna consciousness, he should always think that my time may not go in vain without being engaged in Krishna's service. Your main business is Sankirtana. From everywhere, I'm getting good reports, especially from Boston, New York, Los Angeles, and Hawaii. They are having good success by outdoor kirtanas.
Now, one devotee I met, one foreign devotee from America. So I wearing saffron devotee, shaven head. I asked him, how you became devotee? He said, I saw the kirtans of the devotees. They were dancing. I went with them. I followed the kirtan. I went to temple and I became a devotee. So if you want to make committed, serious devotees, 2 things I have observed. It brings really powerful devotees. One is outdoor kirtan. Another one is those who look for books. Because people who look for books are brahmanas. Because brahmana likes books. And Kshatriya likes weapons. No? Isn't it? Vaishya likes money. Shudra likes just food. Correct, no? So you will see that if somebody is coming and into your table and looking, is very likely to be Brahminical. He is looking for reading philosophy. And once you keep in touch with them, they are likely to become powerful devotees eventually. Similarly, when you are doing outdoor kirtan, especially in this day and age, the living entities are very much suffering, deeply suffering, and they are extremely morose also, depressed and all. So the Sankirtan actually, it explodes Maya completely. Loud Kirtan along with the instruments, it just shakes the living entity and wakes up the sleeping soul. Just like alarm clock wakes up the sleeping body. Outdoor Kirtan wakes up the sleeping soul. Prabhupada said it's like a shower of bombs on the top of an army. The whole army can be devastated. Similarly, the materialistic propensities can be destroyed by throwing a shower of the holy name, by the outdoor Kirtan. Yeah, read this one. This is also letter to Ansuduta, Hamburg, Prabhupada.
In this age, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the prime business of the devotee. And preaching of this Hare Krishna mantra by outdoor Sankirtana and propagation of literature is more important business. Side by side, deity worship is recommended, but when there is a question of accepting one of them, we shall prefer to accept chanting of Hare Krishna mantra first.
See, indoor worship versus outdoor Kirtan. Again, he is saying that. All these different letters make it very clear. Prime business. So in this way, okay, then one more thing I'll show you. Therefore, I wrote the last point. Srila Prabhupada does not restrict his concept of remembering Krishna to only meditating on Krishna's form and pastimes. It also includes varieties of services. Like I told you, Prabhupada gave to different disciples. Read this.
For his divine grace, full engagement in Krishna's service, especially in speaking about him, is the means of remembrance most suited to Vaishnavas of every caliber.
Yeah. So Prabhupada was all the time engaged. Full engagement. So for him, full engagement means, speaking about Krishna makes one remember Krishna also. Which means, you see in the picture there, one couple, they have invited one newcomer. And they are feeding some prasadam. And while taking prasad, they are speaking about Krishna. The second picture, you see that devotee is distributing books. And the third picture, you see two industrialists. They are giving a major chunk of their earning for Krishna's movement. And then you see that's a boat Harinam. So all the other boats are going to watch what Harinam they are doing. Here, the other one family, you find they're playing harmonium and mridanga. It's a nice experience for newcomers. Some newcomers, when they come, they relish the kirtan. They understand Krishna consciousness is not a boring process of just hearing only lectures, reading books. Some people find it little harder. So the variety is very important. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, when he came here to Hyderabad, I met him in the room for a while. So he was telling that any preaching program for newcomers, he said it should have 5 components. He was telling there should be a sweet kirtan in the beginning, and there should be a kind of icebreaker kind of thing where you bring everybody on a common ground. Like you throw a question, which it will make everybody think. What is one thing that everybody is looking for in this world, if you ask? Then they start thinking. And then different people say peace, somebody says love, somebody says happiness. Ultimately, everyone's looking for happiness. So something to begin with, don't just abruptly, directly begin a topic because their minds are all somewhere else. So start with some kind of icebreaker for the new people. Make them think. Sometimes they have a ball, you have seen that? They can take a ball, I speak something, and then I give the ball to the next person, pass it. And then whomever you throw the ball, they have to speak next. Correct? Correct. So everybody is alert also. I should be ready with my point. Then everybody is in a common ground. Then you can start the lecture after that. Correct? Na? Yeah. So, like you ask, what is one Krishna's name you like the most and what is the meaning of that name? Immediately everybody is, okay, somebody says Parthsarathi, somebody says Govinda, somebody says, correct, no? Yashodanandan, somebody says Shyam Sundar, whatever. So you throw the ball, cut, immediately they have to say. So then everybody's minds come to a common ground, then you can start the lecture. So first is a kirtan, then you make them do some icebreaker kind of thing. Then you have a topic where in that topic there's a discover, understand and application. That's very important. Discover means, okay, what points you discovered from today's talk, from this paragraph? And what did you understand? Understanding is more deeper than knowledge. Prabhupada says bookish knowledge without realization is useless. Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, one of the purports. So when you dig their understanding, it becomes clear whether they understood or not, what they understood. Like you ask at the end of the class, what all you understood? When they speak out, then you understand whether they got it or not. Correct, no? So understanding questions. And then understanding means like open book test is understanding. You see, somebody may say, open book? I can refer the book and read. Yeah, but you won't find the answer in the book. That's the meaning of open book. If the answer is there in the book, then what is the meaning of open book? Just copy the answers, correct, no? So, understand, discover, understand, and application. In the same manner, what the Rukmini Jivan Prabhu, I asked him, how you teach your people? Half an hour they hear, one purport of Prabhupada, everything. Very nice method he has. He first he said that when they read the points, so they have to what are the salient points, vital points they got from the lecture, and then the points for self improvement they have to write down, and then they also have to express gratitude based on that purport to Prabhupada, to Guru, what, and then they also uh, have to write about points for action. Action points. Okay. And that's an points of application and action are same only. How will I apply and how will I act? So then I coined one acronym with that, GAP, GAP. G for gratitude, A for application points, and uh, yeah, and P for points for prayer. P is for prayer. So he said lastly prayer. That means, after you see, gratitude is for what you have already received. Prayer is for what you are aspiring to get. Correct, no? Because prayer is the difference between what you can do, what God can do, it is said. The difference between what we can do and what God can do is a prayer. That means prayer can, like Arjuna is one, Krishna is infinity. One plus infinity is infinity. So you can get empowerment by prayer. So gratitude, application points for self-improvement, and prayer to achieve that. So everything we read should be put in this kind of thing. So that removes the gap between you and God. Then you come face to face with God by that. So in this way, okay. Therefore, everyone is preaching. If you see here, yeah, and then
Young men and women, especially, can dovetail their exuberance with this noble cause. By so doing, they purify their hearts and acquire the ability to think of Krishna at will.
even young boys, girls can, if they absorb in devotional service, they will become purified. With purified heart, they feel great happiness, spiritual bliss. They can feel. Yeah.
In this way, Srila Prabhupada marries preaching with regulative devotional service. He thus engages his followers in the topmost religious principle, remembering Krishna.
Yeah. So, regulative devotional service is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. By engaging in varieties of services like this, it's very important. Without such services, we can never experience thrill in spiritual life. Spiritual life would become very hackneyed and stereotyped and boring if you are simply only philosophizing. Then, mm, then only we can. Uh, See, so this is here. It is a combination of study and service. So I will show you some of it. You can just see the slides, but some of them I will dwell on them. So this talks about a person who works according to directions of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. So work done as a sacrifice to Vishnu should be performed. Correct? No? Yajnarthat karmana. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. By acting according to Vedic knowledge, there's no question of being involved in sinful activities. As Vedas are giving us regulative sense enjoyment like government laws. You know. So we need to know why should we study Vedic literature? Because we need to know. Because the man-made laws will always have some defects. But God-made laws are supreme and they're perfect. Man-made laws have 4 defects, whereas God-made laws have no defect. Veda Vak, we say, no? Yeah, and it is also coming in parampara. Yeah. You see, when one doesn't follow the Vedic literature, then one is lost. Anyata, karma kurvano, mana rudho nibadhyate, guna pravaha, patito, nashta prajno, brajatyadaha, he says. Yeah. If a person without engaging one's karma in devotional service, yeah, then what happens? Mana rudo nibadhyate. Yeah, he becomes completely entangled. He says in the 3 qualities of passion, ignorance, and goodness. We become devoid of real intelligence. He says nashta prajno. He's saying our activities will be foolish because of guna pravaha. We become patita. We become patita. We become nashta prajna. And in this way, he says, Brajati, Adaha, means Upaniche, you'll be going up and coming down in the cycle of birth and death from a microbe to Brahmaloka planet. One will be going up and down, like that he says. Yeah. Another famous verse, Yash Shastramani Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata is given. Nasasiddhi Mavapnoti, Nasukam na Paramgatim. In this world also one can't be happy, or in the next world also if one doesn't follow the Shastra. So that's why after studying Shastra, one should render service. Then it becomes devotional service. Otherwise it will be service devoid of any sentiments to God. So we should not do just service alone. It should be devotional service. Of course, service alone is also not a bad idea in the beginning. Say some devotee has given you some service. You are doing that service without any kind of sentiment to love for Krishna, no problem, because you are doing it under the guidance and direction of a devotee, isn't it? No problem, we can do that. But eventually, if you keep reading Prabhupada books and hearing lectures, then the sentiment of devotion will arise in the heart, feelings. So it should be devotional service. Then we can also say it should be loving devotional service. It should not be grudging devotional service. One should not do because I'm supposed to do. Correct, no? One should lovingly do the service. Yeah. And that loving devotional service also should be done in a spirit of sacrifice also. That sacrifice means what? No expectation in return. Yeah. Like a seed extinguishes itself to produce a tree and the flowers and fruits. Similarly, we should be willing to sacrifice our body, mind, words, everything for the pleasure of Hari Guru and Vaishnavas without any expectation in return. Correct, no? So, in this way, it should be a sacrificing, loving, devotional service. Yeah. Yeah. Maya Magda Jevarnahi Swata Krishna Gyan Jivara Kripaya Kaila Krishna Veda Puran. Krishna has mercifully given this Veda Puran for our delivering all of us. So these are all about the books are the basis and this the foundation stone of our movement. So reading them and distributing them. This is a very important thing. Why reading them? Because Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu. Daily if you read Bhagavatam, that Abhadra will be destroyed, nashta, says. And the heart is almost completely, purified. And all that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed, he says. Yeah. See here, Chanakya Pandit has one very nice verse there. He says, when money is in others' hand, you don't have access. Then no use for yourself. Similarly, though one may have all books of Prabhupada, but is he studying them scrutinizingly? That is very important. If you are not reading, here I wanted to say something important. Sometimes our Krishna conscious movement has so much vast amount of knowledge. Different preachers adopt different styles to preach. So, um, just one letter, this thing I want to show you, Prabhupada. I can read it. can close it, I think. Yeah, yeah, please read that. Read that. One of yours.
Bridge preaching, a bridge too far.
Which can mean many things. So there is one devotee who has written the article, but I will show you only what Prabhupada says. Here he says, I am not against the concept per se, but I would argue that almost all outreach involves some degree of bridgeness, a simple handshake, and appreciation of the weather before handing them a BBT book. That would be called as a micro bridge. Understand? Huh? Little bridge. Hi, good morning. How are you today? No, I am fine. How is the weather? It's fine. You may ask something to them, and then afterwards, you look very smart. Huh? Are you a doctor or engineer or a chartered accountant? What do you? Huh? You say, I am a chartered accountant. How did you know I am smart? Huh? You look smart. Huh? So this guy Vaisheshwar says you can say something like that to begin with. That's also a bridge, but it's a micro bridge. Why? Because immediately you hand over a book to them. Read that.
However, we have seen that Srila Prabhupada and even Narada spoke out against certain types of such outreach. Something to think about. Bhagavatam 1.5.15, Narada to Vyasa. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instructions, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions.
Yeah. So here Vedavyasa is scolded by Narada Muni. Why? Because he gave a lot of Puranas for going to demigods and getting material benefits from demigods. His idea was what? If you give that, living entities will come running. And along with that, I will also give Mahabharata, inside which Bhagavad Gita will be there. That was his idea. But then it is like, mixing one small box of hing in the ocean. We'll get the smell of the hing in the ocean if you mix in one corner. Similarly, Draupadi surrendering to Krishna and Krishna giving her sari, or you find, Bhagavad Gita spoken in the middle of vast Mahabharata. People don't take notice of that. They get lost in the politics of Mahabharata. Many people. Correct, no? So, therefore, Narada said, and also you have given so many Puranas guiding living entities towards sense gratification. Now they are going to just accept this sense gratification and make their material lives little better. And they are not going to quit the material world, correct, no? And that's happening in India. We can see that even now also. So therefore, then he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. You all know that, isn't it? So here, Prabhupada is writing letter to Vahana. Read that. Honolulu. Vahana, read that.
My dear Vahanadasa, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated May 12, 1975, and have read the Chintamani poetry book. It is indirect, impersonal, and useless.
Direct, very straightforward. Yeah.
Who will read these things? Krishna's name is only mentioned in 2 poems in the whole book. What is this? There are so many poems written by great acharyas. Why do you try to concoct something like this? It is not in our line. How is that our Kirtanananda Swami is there and he has approved printing this? It is a waste of time, paper, money, ink, and labor. There is so much work to do for spreading this Krishna consciousness. Who will become attracted by such things as this? You should all spend more time reading my books very carefully and stop all this unnecessary manufacturing. I hope this meets you in good health. Your ever will wisher.
And why? Below?
Why there is no picture of Krishna on the cover? If you have the desire to write poetry, better if you read one chapter of Krishna book very carefully. Then put it into poetry, but do not concoct anything. There is no need for that type of poetry. If you do this, I think it will be appreciated nicely.
Yeah. And then another hippie edition, Letter to Sudama, written from Vrindavan, written. Yes?
November 5th, 1972. My dear Sudama, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated October 27th, 1972, and I have noted the contents carefully. So far, the roadshow and this yoga village are concerned, these things should be stopped. Simply perform our kirtana. If we divert our attention in this way, the whole thing will gradually deteriorate. He's going far away. All these things are nonsense inventions. Such inventing spirit will ruin our this movement. People may come to see, some will become devotees, but such devotees will not stay because they're attracted by some show and not by the real thing or spiritual life according to the standard of Lord Chaitanya.
So here is one very important and interesting point. Actually, what is the tool you are using to attract new people becomes very important. Let me tell you an example. Say you are doing a cooking class, for example, or you are doing a yoga, yoga asanas you are teaching, for example, or you are putting up a seminar on stress management or something like that. You are doing. So the living entities who have assembled there have come for for that particular thing only, because you are not directly presented Krishna consciousness to them. So they don't know that you are here to present Krishna. They don't know that. So they are coming for their indirect thing, and once they got their indirect thing, they will go. And the moment you start presenting Krishna, they'll go, because that was not what they were looking for. Correct, no? On the contrary, say you are going in the street and doing Harinam Sankirtan, 90 fellows may call you a fool. But the 10 people who consider that what you're doing is very wonderful, you're calling God's name, they come. So they got a direct connection with Krishna directly. And even if they come to temple or to your classes, that's why I told you, if you're putting a book table, somebody is looking at the book and purchasing a book, that means they found something interesting in the book. They're likely to stay on as devotees. So people who come through indirect methods may not stay on as devotees. But people who come directly, they may stay on. Now there's a third category. What is the third category of people? Those who are actually not looking for superficial things, who are actually looking for Krishna. They are already pious, they are spiritual minded. But at the same time, there are intelligent people also who go for self-help and things like that, which is a temporary stopgap, but something very quick for us. They are looking. For example, like yoga societies, when you do a program, like I did a program in America, in Bloomington. One program I did for yoga society people. Another program I did in Los Angeles, in the third or fourth block from the temple. If you see, there is one Kumi Yoga. Yeah, Kumi Yoga. Correct, na? And Mataji is there. She is Komini Mataji. Kona Mataji. So she gets like 40, 50 Westerners fully. So those people sit and listen about the mind, the workings of the mind, like from Bhagavad Gita, if you talk. And then gradually they have a chance to become devotees also. So this third category person is what? He's a philosopher, like Jnani type people. He's a philosopher, and then he is ready for discussion. And in the course of the discussion, he may become impressed with our movement. That's a possibility. But whether he'll come or not, we can't say. That's a possibility. And the people who came only for superficial things, they go away. And people who are already appreciating direct presentation of Krishna consciousness in the form of Harinam Sankirtan, book distribution, deity worship, festival in the temple, Gita class, they are likely to become devotees. Now I am doing one program for the IITians. Every Sunday I do that. December again I'm going to restart now. So these programs, I don't show much PPT and all. It's only discussion. I only speak more in that. Where something like, 40, 50 IITians come for that. So, because these people have heard the word that is based on Gita when they come, correct? No? Gita and four sutras and things like that I do. So, likely that some of them may have devotional sentiments already. I saw that in the course of my speaking. Many of them already have some faith. They have faith in Krishna, they have faith in Bhagavad Gita, they have faith in Vedas, but they have some questions. You just clear the dust, they'll pick up. Yes, Prabhuji. You can give the mic to.
Like as you mentioned, there are varieties of preachers who are adopting different methods. Not everything is direct. Like for example, stress management. If we are just giving only stress management principles and then bringing people and then wanting to keep them in the pipeline, then give them further later. Instead of that, if we are giving content within that as a sugar coated medicine, we are also in telling how it is connecting to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra like that. Will that not work? Like,
Yeah, that is a very good idea. And you should remember the word micro bridge. Why? Because micro bridge means one or two such programs is all right. Then immediately get into teaching them weekly. Like if you see our Discover Yourself course, it's direct devotional course, except that there's a scientific touch. Correct, no? And then you see the game courses, if you see, they're all straight cut and paste from Prabhupada books and then put in a manner. Correct, no? So one thing is those who want to be spiritual only stay through. We have seen if you take the funnel, if you see, like we have 200 boys attend the one-time program. And then DYS, when you do, say 60, 70 may come for that. And then when you do the Sankal camp, about 40 may come. Yeah? And then you do the Smriti camp, 25 may come. When you go for the Utkarsh, 20 may come. That 20, 10 of them come in. Now somebody may say, oh, you got only 10? You started with 200. But those 10 are people who wear dhoti, kurta, tilak, and they become committed devotees. They become Srikshanavdas, initiated. Some of them may become leaders also in the movement. Correct, no? So the funnel may gradually reduce like that. Manushyanam Sahasreshu, Krishna also says that, correct, no? Manushyanam Sahasreshu funnel. you know. So, yes, I also do the same what you're saying. When we talk about the mind, we tell them to control the mind, you need to chant Hare Krishna, ABCD. ABCD is one spiritual item we give at the end. But people remember also ABCD because it's an acronym, easy to remember. How much they will do is up to them. Correct, no? How much, like we say that you should read Bhagavad Gita, you should chant Hare Krishna, you should take weekly association, they have to come. But in that weekly association, you should start giving them something spiritual. Because, for example, imagine I'm doing bridge topics for 6 months or 1 year. Yeah. Then I'm just keeping them the bridge, going on and on with the bridge. That's the point. Huh? Yeah.
uh, how much do you suggest that we need to focus on indirect kind of things with some internal connection with Krishna consciousness or direct things? How much do you suggest?
I would say that whenever you encounter a newcomer, if you feel that some people are too intellectual and smart and they may find it difficult, Chachan for example, writes good articles. You can post some of the articles, to new people. They become very impressed with the language and with the style of his writing. So then they start taking more interest. Then you tell them, now we will have a Gita course for you. And based on that, you send 2, 3 articles for about, say, 2, 3 weeks. After that, you can get them into the mainstream. Because we also don't have much energy and time. Correct, no? Is there anyone having too much time with you? All of us, we have very little time. So if you are going to go for too long a bridge, like I did one seminar called a self-development course. It is everything about the self only, because Kali Yuga is called as I, me, mine culture. People think about, okay, self-esteem. Then we have self-development. We have uh, all the things. I'll just show you the topics. You can see. This is the one. When I made this self-development series for college and corporate youth. See, course objective. Learning physical fitness, mental soundness, emotional sensitiveness, economic stability, intellectual alertness, spiritual awakening, and constant cheerfulness for a holistic development, means body, mind, soul, of our personality for a life of not just a list of accomplishments, but a life of fulfillment for oneself and for those around us. So these are the 10 topics I covered, 1.5 hours each. So in self-awareness, I spoke about the soul. Science of soul only. Directly, I started with that. I know that if I speak on science of soul, those who don't want to listen will not come next. They will not come. Nevertheless, almost for all the sessions, about 800,000 people came. For all this was online. It was. So I directly, that's why first session only I screened out the people. It's a science of soul. If you have faith in the soul, then only other sessions, because all sessions are based on soul covered by mind and body. Correct, no? Then self-care. Yes, now you understood you are the body, mind, soul, how to take care of the body and the mind and the soul, isn't it? Then self-management. Six are just conquered by true heroes. Who is a true hero? Goswami. First verse of NOI, correct, no? Yeah. No, Vachavaya Manasvaya. Then self-discipline, a regulated lifestyle. There we introduce all the four regulative principles and I'll be explained. And self-respect, recognizing our unique, but this is a very big thing nowadays. Many people are feeling they're struggling with their mind because they are not able to recognize their own unique potential. Huh? And then self-reliance, from dependence to freedom, and then overcoming inferiority complex, that's self-esteem, correct? No? I didn't give the word self-esteem. I purposely gave overcoming inferiority complex to make it more clear. Huh? Self-esteem. Overcoming superiority complex is also another problem. Superiority complex means having a very high opinion about oneself while one is not. Just like a cat is looking into a mirror and thinking, I'm a lion. You know? Like that, yeah. Superiority complex. And then abundance mentality and freedom from insecurity. And then art of thinking. So these 10 things, you know, then I wanted someone to host this and help me because for me to organize that would be difficult. So he organized, helped me host Madan Sundar Prabhu, hosted it on a Pune platform, and I did 10 weeks continuously. And he said many people were very enthusiastic after that. I have to check how many of them connected with the regular this thing. So he was very happy with this course. So, but this also is too long a bridge, I would say. Even this, if you just do one or two programs you did, then you can take them to direct Krishna consciousness. If you really are looking for making them devotees, because otherwise, yeah. Oh, sorry, we have come. We have left that reading bridge. We will complete this one. Our standard is to have.
Standard is to have Kirtana, start temples. What is this roadshow on Yoga Village?
It will be another hippie edition. Gradually, the Krishna consciousness idea will evaporate. Another change. Every day, another change. Stop all this. Simply have Kirtan, nothing else. Don't manufacture ideas.
Like that.
So it is creativity.
Like example. You can give an example. When he encouraged.
Diagrams are basically.
Oh, dioramas are not any new idea. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada says in the Leelamrita also we read, he had a huge diorama display, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And therefore Prabhupada also followed that. Lord Chaitanya says all the pastimes were done in dioramas. It was even before the freedom struggle. People are saying that you're collecting so much money and making dioramas. Why don't you give it for the freedom struggle movement? No, he spent for that. Yes. Yeah, loudly. Mm. Yeah. I think it's better to speak. You can come this side, Prabhu. Otherwise you can change direction.
I can.
Because this question will not come there. In the mic it won't come. Guys.
So there are two thoughts here. One is a reductionistic, like boiling the milk, funnel, no, and there is another liberalistic,
Correct.
accept everyone. So everything has its own thing. Like we say that 1,000 people attend, only 10 may come out.
Correct.
Like 10 who are serious.
Correct. Correct.
The 990 will remain. The other school says that why leave out that 990?
Correct.
Bring them to such level.
And there also there are two categories in that. For example, we can be liberal. Prabhupada writes about this in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavatam. He says that you can give them liberal, but let them get Krishna conscious entertainment. For example, they can regularly come to Govindas and take prasad. They can take part in street sankirtan. Some of them may want to take part in plays, dramas like Vaikunta. They had the group, Vaikunta players. They can take part in dramas. They may also chant 16 rounds, get initiated also, but they will once in a blue moon come to temple. Their main thing is performing some. Therefore, it says education, culture, devotion. Yeah. So some people are inclined to education, some are inclined to cultural activities like food, dress, art, science, or drama, or painting, this kind of things and all. So again, that is also devotional. Now, where the another category is there in the liberal thing, where it has no iota of devotional content. Say, for example, yeah, I will give you some examples. Like protecting the cow is a very nice thing. We should protect. But if one goes too much into that, and one doesn't even chant 16 rounds, and one doesn't come to temple, and one doesn't read proper the books, then one simply takes care of only the cows. There are people like that. Correct, no? Then there are people who go into yoga. Like some devotees, they want to learn yoga. 28 days you do the course, which is good. You become a yoga teacher now. Sometime in the morning, sometime in the evening, you teach yoga to people, you earn some livelihood. So there is one Mataji abroad. She was telling that she teaches yoga only in the afternoon time, you know, and she teaches to very rich people. She was telling that, something like that to rich ladies. She's teaching only housewives. And the housewives eat something in the morning at 9, and then they take in the evening. So before, when the stomach is light, then she teaches. She has some 20-25 students, and she's making a good money also, and it doesn't hamper her devotional service. Correct, no? She's an initiative devotee, she was selling, and she's doing that. So there are people like that. Huh? So there are devotees who know that these extra activities should not substitute my devotional activities. Correct, no? On the other hand, I know examples of devotees who came as devotees. They got even initiated, and then they got into some line like music line or Sanskrit line. Like there are devotees in Sanskrit, uh, who uh, talk about like one word in Sanskrit has 50 meanings. You know, says, I will tell you what are those 50 meanings. Yeah? And then he is presenting. There is one video I saw, one boy, young boy, he's saying, he was also telling there are, in English there is a one word with 26 letters, But he says in Sanskrit, I have another word with 45 letters. And each of the bits of that also has separate meaning. When you combine them, they have a different meaning. So he is playing with words, and he is giving a Sanskrit course also. So many people are attending. Yes, you can impress new people with that, but how much of Krishna element will be there in that? Because our one lifespan is very short. We are likely to get lost in that. Hmm. Now, similarly, somebody may go to Mayapur or Vrindavan and say that, oh, I want to serve the yatriks by starting some kind of shop with devotional paraphernalia. Initially, you may start with a good intention, correct? No, and then you are selling, but eventually we can become greedy. Huh? Eventually, you see, if you start making big money out of the visitors, and you think people coming from abroad have more money, so you take from them in dollars. Like that. So then in this way, then the intention with which we started originally may get covered over like that. So one has to be very careful in any action one does. Therefore, I told you, and as you said, the people, the core thing though is only one core thing, and the liberal thing has two parts. There are liberal devotional activities. Like for example, somebody is doing Kirtan Mela. It's very light thing, very nice. Many, like you see this Janavi Harrison Mataji or Madhav Prabhu, they are attracting a large mass of people. They practice very nicely, and they perform on like sometimes even 500 or 1,000 people come and sit. So this may be their profession, and they may eventually get excellence in their profession also. And it is also entertaining to people, and it is also devotionally very directly relevant, because they are singing Hare Krishna mantra. Maybe little bit Govinda Bolo, Hari Gopala Bolo, something they may sing, you know. But eventually they chant Hare Krishna eventually. Very soon. She sings many times Hare Krishna very directly also, many places. So if you ask me personally, I would say that in the liberal activities, it is good for us to keep it as close to devotional activity. Like for example, Damodar festival is an example. many pious people invite us to their homes. Correct? No? Our target should be what? Go to their home, perform Damodar Dasing, try to give them Bhagavad Gita at least, and give them a mala and make them chant Hare Krishna. The intention should be to make them devotees. If they don't become also, no problem. We have made an attempt at least. Correct? No? Yeah. Thank you. Then he says here, see the power of association. Read that. However, by saintly association, the jiva, he destroys the bad vasanas, even if they are very strong also. Please repeat this verse. Ato dusangam utsrijya satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa evasya chindanti mano vyasangam uktivihi. Read that translation.
An intelligent person should therefore reject all bad association and instead take up the association of saintly devotees whose words cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind.
Unnecessary metal attachments, like Narada, destroyed the metal attachment of Prachina Parishad and Mrigari and people like that. Yeah. Aho danyosi deva rishe kripaya yasya te kshanat nichopyutpulako lebhe lubdako ratimuchyate.
My dear friend Narada Muni, you are glorified as the sage among the demigods. By your mercy, even a low-born person like this hunter will immediately become ecstatic. This is called bhava or rati, Skanda Puran. Even the most sinful can be delivered by bhakti.
Yeah. Bhakti is very powerful. So, the mind goes by this like and dislike. Correct, no? See, getting free from the modes of Maya is difficult, even for the most educated person on the mundane plane. It's almost impossible to get out of Maya by theoretical knowledge, he says. So therefore, we need devotional service. And then second point says, practice Krishna consciousness while engaged in prescribed duties. That means, the prescribed duties are in three gunas. And while doing the duties, along with that, if you engage in devotional activities, gradually, you will come to the nirguna stage. Go beyond the three gunas. Therefore, you will see Shuka, for example, and Sanaka. If you see, these are all transcendental personalities. If you see like that. On the other hand, if you see Janaka Maharaj and Manu, for example, Swayambhu Manu Janaka, they did not leave their prescribed duty and take to renounced order. They followed the Nishkama Karma Yoga to purify because they have to do kingly duties. So they did the kingly duties. Along with it, they practiced Nishkama Karma Yoga, purified their heart. So one who is performing the prescribed duties, there is one more verse also. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata matkata shravanadau va shraddha yavan najayate. This is Lord Krishna speaking to Uddhava. He's saying, Tavat karmani kurvita. Keep on doing your prescribed duties. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata. As long as detachment has not arisen, continue performing prescribed duties, he's saying. When detachment arises from material enjoyment, then he says, Matkata Shavanada va Shraddha yavanna jayate. If one has developed a firm Shraddha in Shravanam and Kirtana, then that person can give up his prescribed duties. So there is one verse in Gita also. Yastu atmaratireva syat atmatu paschamanavaha atmani evacha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. That person has no work to do. One who is saying, what that was? I said just now? Yeah. Yastu atmaratihi eva syat. Yastu atmaratireva syat atmatuptascha manavaha atmani evacha santushta. So he's saying, is atmarati, is atma santushta, atma tripta, like that, then that person tasya karyam na vidyate. He has no other work to do. So therefore, here is the point. I told you three things. The senses should be engaged in Krishna's service, Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam, in a conditioned stage, to turn away from the vasanas and to feel bliss even in a conditioned stage before you develop higher taste. That was about the senses. And about the mind, We chant the holy name and keep purifying the mind day by day by day, gradual purification. And with respect to intelligence, strengthen the intelligence by study of the scriptures. So you get direction, guidance, and clear cut understanding of destination. So in this way, by engaging the senses, mind, and intelligence, we are safe and protected. So he says here, Baladev Devbhushan, I read that very important purports.
Attraction and repulsion, very strong. Repetition of the word indriyasya of the sense indicates all the senses. The knowledge senses, such as the ear and its sense object sound, and the action senses, such as the voice and its sense object words. Attraction and hatred, raga dvesha, pleasure or discomfort to the individual are fixed firmly, vyavasthito, not in the unsettled way. In all these, the sense objects indriyasya ardhe.
And that is explained nicely below the highlighted portion. Read that.
Attachment, raga, for what is forbidden by the scripture. That is, such as giving gifts to others' wives or seeing or touching their bodies. Desire comes along with the knowledge of the positive features of doing so.
Yeah. So here, for example, what is the attachment of a conditioned soul, which is actually forbidden in the scriptures? Nowadays, because people are educated now, and they say we are modern man, modern woman, shaking hands or hugging. In India, they shake hands. In America, they hug. Any boy or girl can hug each other, saying that this is the way we express our, joy when we. So they say good morning by hugging. So that's why he says it's forbidden in the scripture, and because this is actually a wrong type of attachment. And when one gives gifts to other men's wives, then unnecessarily they are giving them an invitation to develop attraction towards them. Yeah, go ahead below.
Repulsion, dvesha, for what is prescribed by the scripture, such as distributing gifts to, serving, seeing and touching the guru, the brahmana, the holy places, and the visitors.
See, the thing which you should touch, which you should serve, which you should see, that is not interested. If one sees a saintly person, one gets purified. It is said. Tomara, what that was? Darshana pavitra karo ya tumhara gun. So one may not want to see a saintly person. One may not want to serve a saintly person, taking the trouble. One is watching TV, one is spending so much time with the social media. There are people who sit on a Sunday in their house simply in a lazy, like a couch potato, we say, watching TV. Isn't it? Crunching some, crackjack biscuits, watching TV, reading newspaper, drinking bed coffee, not taking bath till 11 o'clock. Correct, no? Lazy bum kind of thing. So that means that for the right things, the inclination is not there. There is a hatred for doing such things. And for the wrong things, there is attachment. He's saying this should be given up. Yeah.
Attachment to what helps one attain one's goals and hatred for the opposite. Example, attached to seeing a woman, object of the eye, and hatred for those that obstruct that enjoyment. Example, attracted to tasty, tender rice, dislike for hard rice. Example, attachment to hearing and seeing one's own sons, but dislike seeing or hearing the sons of one's enemies.
Yeah, like for example, we have a plain white rice and we have the fried rice with, masala and everything. So some people say, oh, both rice are available. Can give him masala rice. They take a lot. Correct, na? Take a big quantity. Actually, masala rice is tasty, but is it good for the health? Not good. So you take little bit of that and take white rice, more quantity. 75% you take white rice, little masala rice. That's how it's supposed to be served also. But some people don't touch white rice at all. This is available. So the conditioned soul has preferences which are harmful for him. Correct, no? They're harmful for the humanity. Yeah, go ahead.
They are like thieves standing in front of the pari, the traveler, on the road. Panthin.
Paripanthinau, yeah.
Paripanthin. The person desiring the highest good should not fall under the control of desire and hatred.
Kamaha krodascha lobascha dehe tishtanti daskaraha jnanaratna apaharaya tasmat jagrata. Shankaracharya says this. He says, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, these three are like highway robbers. They will steal away the knowledge ratna, knowledge diamond that you have received. So keep away, he's saying. Yeah.
Free will is stronger than vasanas. Study of scriptures helps to choose.
This is good news for us. Yeah.
Vasanas or sanskaras of many past impressions create memory of previous like or dislike under certain conditions, and desires appears to act. Still, the jiva is not powerless. He has his free will. He can choose the scripture over his material desires. Scripture SS.
Yes, Sridhar Swami.
Scriptures engage him beforehand in the worship of the Lord, through which he resists attraction and aversion and doesn't come to grieve. Example, one who resorts to a boat before falling into a deep current.
See, this is the point. Rageva Vishayeshu Ragadvesha Pradibandhake Parameshwara Bhajanadav. He's saying Adav means all the Navida Bhakti comes in that. So when you are doing Parameshwara Bhajanadav, Pravartaiti, he says that in this way, when you engage in Navavida Bhakti, indoor services and outdoor services, you can very easily overcome vasanas. That's the main point. All these things are saying that, your good choice means you are turning to scriptures. Bad choice means turning to vasanas. Like that is saying. In this way, so in this, okay, when a disciple wrote to Prabhupada confessing that, okay, you can read this full paragraph.
There is nothing else but Krishna, or rather, there is Krishna and his illusory energy Maya. A devotee avoids the clutches of Maya and the resultant sufferings of material life by fully absorbing himself in some form of authorized devotional service. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessary engagements in sense gratification.
See? Prabhupada. Seekers of absolute truth are never allured to unnecessary engagements. Why are they not allured? Reason he gives. Because
the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth.
See? That means, you can research Krishna, you can research Maya. But Maya research is like taking an onion and keep on removing, you finally find nothing. That's like Maya is like that. Maya will cheat us. You don't get at the end of the day anything. For example, the attraction of a man for a woman, woman for man, from a distance it's very charming. But when one comes very close, eventually when material life one gets frustrated. Like we read in Bhagavatam so many examples, Devyani and Jayati, like that we read, Evam Varsha Sahasrani, Manashashtair Manasukam, Vidadano Pinatrapyat, Sarvabhoma Kadindriya. He says, although he says, I am a Sarvabhauma, king of the whole world. 1,000 years, we ate all kinds of dishes and beverages, we drank, we wore all kinds of dresses, we went for all kinds of outings, we had all kinds of socializing, we had all kinds of sensual enjoyments. But he says that Vidadano api natrupyat, he's saying, which means not satisfied. Sarvama kadindriya, because my senses are impure, he says. Kadindriya. Those senses which are engaged in sense gratification are impure. Sadindriya means those senses engaged in Krishna service. So that is why intelligent devotee Nateshu Ramate Buddha. So if one is intelligent, is called Buddha. If one is not Buddha, then one is Buddhu. So in this way, intelligent people take the Lord's instructions very seriously in the scripture and they research and all. See, the beauty of researching Krishna more and more, the more and more deeper you go, the more your ecstasy increases. That's the nature of Krishna's beauty, because Krishna's opulence are ever increasing also. So in this way, we should keep ourselves busy in the research of the truth. And then, when a disciple wrote to Prabhupada,
when a disciple wrote to Srila Prabhupada confessing that she was confused, Srila Prabhupada recommended that she go on chanting but remain fully engaged in devotional work. Do you have sufficient engagement there? He asked in the written letter. Because if we are not full-time engaged, then the mind is free to do its fickle business of rejection and acceptance for sense gratification. Maya will immediately enter. We do not even have to call her.
He's saying, you don't have to tell Maya, now I have some free time, please come. No, without your calling, she will easily come, he's saying. Yeah.
The moment we are not absorbed in Krishna's devotional service.
That means as soon as there is a gap, it'll immediately, Maya will come. That's what he's writing. Yeah. And then the varieties of devotional service are endless. They are either dictated by our own personal preference and by the practice by the spiritual master. Yes, it's not that you cannot have preferences. We all have our personality and psychophysical makeup. Prabhupada also, when senior devotees, would ask them, what would you like to do? Prabhupada asked. They would say, Professor, whatever you say, I will do. Prabhupada, that's all right. But what is your taste? For new people, Prabhupada gave them service. For older devotees, he asked, what would you like to do? According to their inclination, he gave. Sometimes needful may be collecting donations for a temple, or getting permission for a Rath festival, or a grihastha may have to go out and get a job. It's not that spiritual activities are stereotyped. There are so many varieties of activities one can do for Krishna. Activities of an advanced Vaishnava are inconceivable because they are always thinking of Krishna and how to engage everyone and everything in Krishna's service. Like Prabhupada single-handedly published so many volumes of Bhagavatam, the beginning volumes. The preface he wrote, they see that we are moving in cities, in government offices, banks, and other business places for promoting the publication of Bhagavatam. They also see that we are moving in the press, paper market, and amongst the bookbinders also, away from our residence at Vrindavan. And they conclude sometimes mistakenly that we are also doing the same business in the dress of a mendicant. So many people who saw, hey, Swamiji is sannyasi, what is he doing? He is getting the books published, magazine. I think he's making some profits, they were thinking. But little did they know who Prabhupada was. They didn't know. Great kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Parikshit, and they all ruled the citizens on behalf of Lord Krishna. They are all the Raja Rishis. Even scholars like Jiva Goswami, Devotional, they wrote highly intellectual works. That is also service. Poets like Jayadeva Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and a woman like Kunti, she raised her children as a Krishna conscious duty. Gandhari also followed her husband and all that. Okay. And there are many examples I given. List of services to Krishna can be extended on and on. You can even, with the latest inventions of technology and high-speed jet transport, high-tech computers, we can have multiple services. No one willing to work can complain of unemployment in service of the Lord. And as soon as one becomes unemployed in devotional service, Maya employs him by force. So the morning program of chanting, hearing is dynamically interrelated with our occupational duties also. From the morning sadhana, the devotee gets the spiritual fortitude to carry on throughout the day, executing laborious service on behalf of Guru. And by working with the senses throughout the day, the devotee earns the pleasure of Krishna, who then increases devotee's taste for chanting and hearing about him. That means the service also purifies and it increases our taste for hearing and chanting. Both regulated worship and preaching must be prosecuted according to a healthy balance. No one should make devotional service an excuse not to work. Some people give 2 rounds in the morning. Any seva you give Prabhuji 2 rounds remaining. 2 rounds remaining. And while going to bed, they quickly finish 2 rounds and go to sleep. And not do any service. Don't give excuse. When Srila Prabhupada heard a devotee was taking all day to finish her 16 rounds, Prabhupada replied, she must do some duty. Sometimes it is given as a plea to avoid doing more active service. As a devotee cannot excuse himself from the morning program, similarly, he cannot excuse himself from engaging in a full day's service on behalf of Krishna. In the temple and monasteries, Prabhupada wrote, gathering up unnecessary, rejected, lazy fellows should be strictly disallowed. So, sometimes brahmachari is staying for many years. They may worry about health. If they are too much bodily conscious, then they may overeat and go to doctor and then take care of the health and not do enough services. Similarly, in the congregation, if somebody has become initiated, after initiation, they think that now already our ticket back to Vaikuntha is assured. So then they become. How many of you have seen people going towards initiation very serious? Who want to take initiation? You've seen that? Super serious. But 5 years down the line after initiation, they may not have the same seriousness. I'm not talking about everybody, some people. That's why he's saying that if we become lethargic, lazy, then we may get stuck in Maya in this world. Whether one lives in the temple or in his home, whether one is employed directly in the preaching or is working outside to earn a living, if one wants to become an honest devotee, one has to fully engage in oneself in a worthwhile service that is acceptable to Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki. So, actually, here I wanted to show you some letters, some things about Prabhupada. Only about the work service I wanted to show you. Mood for approaching. About service, 2-3 slides I have here. See here, Prabhupada is writing, read that.
Practical
Study
devotion.
with active service, not reading only many books.
Practical devotion is the secret to understanding the Shastras. My Guru Maharaj used to say that for one who is not engaged in devotional service, reading all the books is simply like licking the outside of the honey jar. One who thinks the books is the thing is content in this way. But we should learn the secret to open the jar and taste the honey. In this way, if we can simply understand one book or one sloka, the perfection is there. Lord Chaitanya warned about reading too many books. Although I see in America there is very popular, this is very popular to get volumes and volumes of book and not understand one.
Just don't stock the books. Also, read the books, he's saying.
It is very good that you want to become very learned in Krishna consciousness. But what good is so much knowledge without practice? Obedience must be there. So, by being submissive in this way and following the direction of the temple leaders is practicing the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Disciple means discipline. Without discipline, there cannot be any spiritual progress. If you want to study, there is much time in the day for studying, but you must go also on Sankirtan party. That is a result or practice of your studying. Simply studying is dry and useless without chanting.
Like that he's saying. So, this way, okay. So from this you can see that Prabhupada doesn't want us only to read and become a scholar, but he wants us to do practical service like outdoor Sankirtan, book distribution, preaching, which is often, nowadays especially, people tend to forget this. Yeah. So, today we talked about rendering practical devotion service. Hey, the battery is getting over, this one. Can put the- So, I have exceeded the time a little bit today, but it's a very important topic. Every time I come, I are covering one topic, isn't it? Today our focus was on rendering devotion service. Prabhupada ki.
Prabhuji, one small question.
Those of you who are going to company can carry on. I will stay for another 10-15 minutes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, here, as already we discussed, mind, accepting, rejecting, right? We always go to the even extremes. Either we become too much oriented to sadhana, like reading books or, hearing classes in that mode, or we kind of get into so much of service orientation.
Correct.
Either of modes we always jump in, not balancing in between. What do you say is that practical way?
Therefore, one very easy way to avoid this situation, like I told you, that devotee has a class every day, morning, evening. So he told me, morning half an hour he gives Bhagavatam, evening half an hour CC he gives. But for that, the previous day in the daytime, he studies half an hour for both. Because only when you study, you can speak, no? But so while studying, he gathers some information and all. That means today I am studying in the daytime, half an hour, how much it comes to? 1 hour. And tomorrow I am speaking in the morning, half an hour by reading Prabhupada purport, half an hour. So that means in a day, how many hours I am with the books? That Prabhupada has said, daily try to study my books 2 hours. And then rest of the day, they are fully absorbed in service. They don't have any time for any other touching the book at all. So in this way, I understood one thing. The best way for grown-up devotees, initial devotees and all, is to take some programs. Even if 5 people are coming, 10 people are coming, that program you can consider it as your own. Like once His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj took me from Chaupari temple, a walking distance to one matha kind of thing. It's Kabir's ashram, some Kabir's followers. So when he sat and sang, I was a college student in IIT that time. So I was the only young man, and all other people were sitting glued to the walls. They were all minimum 75 years old. There were about 10, 12 people. All people sitting. When you look at them, today or tomorrow they'll pass away. It looked like that. And he was speaking on Sri Ishopanishad, So he used to take me there. I went for 2-3 programs. So one day I openly asked, why do you waste time with these people? They're very old people. Even after hearing what are they going to do? He said, no, I have to give Ishopanishad for the Bhakti Shastri. I'm preparing, said. So this program is a preparation program for me. I made some notes. Now I'm speaking and seeing how it comes. Then when I actually speak for Bhakti Shastri, I can make some modification. So we can also have some rehearsal in such programs. Like I used to go to company corporate programs for rehearsal. You keep on speaking, you become expert eventually. Correct, no? So taking some online programs or reading Prabhupada books, like Mukundan started 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Every day, night, 20 minutes, like 9, 10 to 9:30 or something like that. A lot of graces joined. Initially, there were like, 10, 12 people. Now he has got like 70, 80 people now, daily coming. And people saw the regularity. Similarly, for children, he started Vishnu Sahasranam recitation, Brahma Samhita recitation. 1, 2, 3 children came. Now, then eventually it became 50, 60, 80 children. Numbers swell. So because people appreciate consistency. They see that, hey, this fellow is like, he was very rock steady. If I join, I will also become rock steady in studying. So this devotee in Delhi, Rukmini Jivan Prabhu, he said, Chaitanya Charitamrita is over now. Now he has gone in Chaitanya Bhagavat now. He was selling. So morning is Krishna Leela, evening Chaitanya Leela. I think they're doing. So there is one Medavini Saki Devi Mataji. She has a group of 40, 50 ladies, sometimes about 100 ladies also. Oh, she is disciple of Zolas Jayapatak Maharaj in Bombay. This lady, she conducts Ekadashi, 20 rounds, 32 rounds, 64 rounds, and people chant. She will send out circular, and she comes on Zoom with all the ladies. So, very pakka and daily Prabhupada book reading, teaching. She makes very good notes and everything, PPTs and all she makes. Summary of Ishopanishad and books like that, point wise. So she keeps herself engaged so much that the total life is spiritual. Both services also and also absorbing in Shastra. So these are some of these leaders I always admire, many of the leaders. We have a group called as GLOSS group. GLOSS. GLOSS stands for Grihastha Leaders Outreach Spiritual Sangha. So there we have people like Madhav Gopinath who is there and there. Liran Prabhu is there. So recently we added this Medhavani Saki Mataji also. We added in the group. She will come now when we have the GLOSS. You will see. So I may invite Rukmini Jivan Prabhu also. If I tell he may also join. I haven't informed him. Actually, I generally invite people who have been hearing my lectures. Rukmini Jivan Prabhu hears like almost alternate days he hears some lecture from my channel. So he said that I have taken a lot of shiksha from you, he was telling. So when these people come, every other leader get thrilled hearing from there. So this is the simplest method. Start some study group and make an announcement. And then you will see that your study will be assured. Whether others come or not, even if only 2 people come, our reading is assured. Right, na? All right? Yeah.
One more thing, bro. Generally, in the different varieties of preaching models, what we're having, of course, the filter down, the comes to the last one, the core group.
Yes.
But we see the many speakers, the mass preaching when they're doing,
Mm.
their whole purpose is not that, we bring them to the middle devotional service, at least to acclimate them from the lower modes to the higher
Correct,
mode.
correct. Yeah, correct.
So our approach towards them or our
And that many organizations are doing. See, for example, Sadhguru, for example, he talks many, or even to the Ramdev Baba, for example. And even others like, if you see the Shivani madam in Brahma Kumari, she's talking most about how to deal with people, with situation, your own hatred and emotions, correct, no? So there are good number of organizations which are already doing that work. What we should do is, their output should be our input. Correct, no? Correct. And there are many Sadhguru's boys, and also even our Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's boys, who come to in America, they come to our classes. They say that they are also grateful to them that they brought us to Sattva. And then we are more grateful to ISKCON because you have given us our true identity. But if we devote too much time in that, then we do the same thing what they are doing. Because like one man came to our Pune camp temple to purchase agarbatti. He was purchasing agarbatti. And there was a brahmachari in the temple, Hara Prabhu. He used to catch and preach to people. He called, hey, come here. He called him, who are you? He said, and then he told, I'm coming for the first time to temple. I came to buy agarbatti. He said, oh, really? You're coming first time? How did you know about ISKCON Pune? He said, I attended SSY, Siddhi Samadhi Yoga. And Rishi Prabhakar, Acharya Prabhakar, Rishi Prabhakar, they call. So that fellow, they have 8-day course. On the 8th day, he said, ISKCON temple has the most fragrant agarbatis. He told them. So this one came to purchase, And our Hara Prabhu immediately gave him mala to do japa. And then he asked him, what did you learn there? He said he learned about avoiding onion garlic, eating vegetarian food, doing pranayam, yogasanas in the morning, and always, every day spending a little time close to nature, either with water body or greenery or the sun or fresh air. They taught us all these things. On the last day, they taught us, you are not the body, you are the soul. And Harpo told him, from then we will teach you further now. Come now. So, yeah, we have, especially what I would say, if you don't know much in, soul, super soul, sambandha, then your giving knowledge like them is justified. Because they have not ventured into this area much, many of them, correct? No? But we, not only we have knowledge, we are also practicing. So, in accordance with our realization and knowledge, we should also give to living entities who can take it. At the same time, Gaurang Prabhu and me, we have had a lot of discussion about this. Somebody, for them, certain area you put them, they are in their elements, we say, no? Okay, let them do it. If that's what they are comfortable with. Like, for example, some of the preachers, they are very knowledgeable in spiritual line also. Bhagavatam, CC and everything. But they will be in their elements if you give them some mode of goodness type of talks. Share and enjoy, be good, do good, be kind. There are many motivational talkers who are doing that. That's what they feel most comfortable. Then what Maharaj told when I asked him, he said, okay, this comes very naturally for them. And the devotional and other things, they can speak. It's not that they cannot speak. They can speak. For example, there are people who talk a lot about the dham and pastimes from the dham, and there are people who speak that. There are people who speak a lot of philosophy also. Correct, no? So different preachers have different styles. So we accept it as a style. And for me, preaching means bringing people to the point of 16 rounds, 4 legs, and going back to Godhead. That is my understanding of preaching. There may be others who may say that let us throw the seeds. In this lifetime, they'll pick up the seeds and it may germinate and grow in the future lifetimes. Both are possible. Correct, no?
In this thing, my question was the same thing. Majority is also.
That's
One
it.
small thing is like some preachers make a pipeline where initially they take the classes to develop some more faith and shraddha on the Vedas, and like that only. For example, this stress management topic, if they give, for example, one small thing, they give all the solutions, giving examples from the Vedic scriptures,
Correct.
and then they get develop more faith on the Vedas, and from that they take
The
further.
only problem is this fellow should not get job transfer somewhere else. Sometimes, for example, you brought some solution from the Vedas, and then this fellow goes to some other organization after going somewhere. Because we didn't tell them what ISKCON stands for. That's one problem I see. Another problem, in Pune, one fellow was conducting a class for the. He invited me, can you come once, Prabhu? But he said, I don't want you to give a class. I just want you to read Ramayana and then a little bit, 15, 20 minutes you can speak. And now I am thought of introducing you, he said. I asked, who are the audience? Senior citizens, he said. And how many of them are coming? Oh, 40 of them are coming, he said. How long they are coming? 2 years, he said. And what are you doing? Mula Ramayana they are reading. Our Valmiki Ramayana they are reading. Every week they are reading. Then I said, then he told me, Prabhuji, you can come, but don't introduce Hare Krishna mantra. Don't say Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Don't bring Prabhupada. I am keeping everything very confidential. Now we are only reading Ramayana. Slowly I am planning to introduce chanting, Prabhupada and ISKCON. They don't even know I put my Kantimala inside. I don't wear tilak. Because if they are pious fellows, they should not run away. That we will push and things like that. I said, already their sin is results. Any day they will pass away. So this long bridge is not very good, I told them. Okay, instead of doing for 2 years, you do the entire Ramayana one kanda in one day. In all the kantas, you finish it. And then after that, you get them to regular weekly programs. I would say, like you use the word micro bridge. Bridge should be limited. But when you go to college, for example, we are doing a course, they're paying money also. For example, MBA college invited me recently, the Divai Patel Symbiosis. They were saying for one period they're ready to pay 7,500 rupees. For one period, just about 90 minutes. So 7,500 they are ready to pay. And they paid us about 1.5 lakhs. Yeah. So number one, they're giving money which we can use for preaching purpose. Number two, we are getting an audience of 750 students. Access, we can go to IIMs, IIT in the college. And there they may want us to talk. The course name is Management Principles from Bhagavad Gita. Like Mata is doing on decision making in Bhagavad Gita, correct, Mataji? She is doing her PhD now. Now, after she finishes, she will be a doctorate and she'll be in big demand. In many of the MBA colleges, they can invite her to do a course. They are ready to, for one semester, they're giving 1.5 lakhs. Can imagine for 2 batches. 700 in the morning, 700 in the afternoon, 2 batches. So, what's the advantage of this? Because they've directly given management principles from. So, 2 goals can be achieved by this. One is, uh, we can teach the students that self-help books are not as good as the God-spoken words. How it is wise. Self-help books many times have shortcomings and limitations. But here you can get the same tools what you get from self-help books in a more refined and more profound way from Shastras. So that's one thing. Another thing, we can gradually and imperceptibly create an attraction for Krishna and Rama in the minds of the audience. Because they say, hey, see how Krishna is empathic in dealing with Arjuna, how Krishna is friendly with Arjuna, how Krishna is a good listener. Whole first chapter, Krishna didn't speak at all. He's a good listener. And just see how, one mentor is worth an entire army. That's what Arjuna understood. To have Krishna as a mentor. So in this way, when you keep speaking about Krishna, they are learning the principles. Suddenly they find in their heart attraction for Krishna has come. Hey, Krishna is such a good person. Yes, therefore chant Hare Krishna. Correct? No? In this way, this is one of my goals. I am also going to get into LinkedIn now. LinkedIn I have not been. I am going to start now. So Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Yeah. So 2 goals I told you in management principles from Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata, for example. One is to teach them self-help tools, life tools, management tools, leadership tools from the scriptures, like Chanakya Niti, Panchatantra, Hitopadesha, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Abundant ocean is there. Teach them. And the second thing is to make them understand all these principles have emerged from the absolute truth, which is Krishna and Rama. Their personality itself is so beautiful and endowed with so many sublime qualities. And then we can easily make the bridge connect to Krishna consciousness by that. This would be more better than just telling people just to share whatever you have with other people and enjoy. Or be selfless. When you make such generalized things, then people say, I am very selfless, I go and feed the birds. So spiritually, they don't achieve anything. Therefore, a spiritual bridge is better than a material bridge. Yeah. I think it's clear, I think, right? Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna. Let us